So Konami have released 3 new Showtime cards. Only 2 of them have the skill though, and arguably the best player doesn't have the skill in Dybala. So it's a shame, but we're going to take a look at the players regardless. So first player we will take a look at is Lautaro Martinez. I think this guy is someone who is not particularly great in eFootball. I don't think he's a terrible player. He's kind of like a Lewandowski, and he's got very high weak foot. So this guy is really good on the edge of the box in the sense that you can go on either foot and shoot, and he is pretty consistent with his shooting. So I don't think he's too bad, sorry. And now he does have phenomenal finishing, which will really help with those kind of weak-footed shots. And it'll be kind of tricky to defend this guy because just, you know, one little turn and shoot, and even if he's off balance a little bit, the phenomenal finishing will help with that. So I do have a build for him. So this is the first build I have, and you can see there's not too much to it actually, but we are just trying to get the kick and power and balance to 85, so you get a +3 boost with the 88 proficiency manager, and then from there we're just kind of going well rounded with the stats. Now finishing is important. I talked about it in the Del Piero video I uploaded a few days ago. The way I kind of build my players is I either give them 90 finishing or 95. I definitely think with the way or the type of player Lautaro Martinez is, you should give him 95. You can do a build with only 90 finishing though, so if you take off 5 points there, he still gets the +3 boost, and then obviously the extra 2 from his booster card. So then you'd have 12 points extra. So if we take off the boost for a sec, if we put all those points into dribbling, we can't get to 85 ball control and tight possession. You're going to have to take something else off. So if you took off a aerial strength and try to put it in, you're still not going to have enough. So you're going to have to either choose between getting rid of 85 balance or 85 kick and power. If you want 85 tight possession and ball control, which I think if you're going for the 90 finishing build, you should do that. Which one would I choose? I mean, if we have a look actually, and we just take it off and then have a look what the card overall looks like, you can see actually you have a little bit of points left that are going to have to go into, we'll go aerial, get the 80 jump. So you can see here, this is the one where we take off the balance. I think, I mean, it looks good. He is more of a finisher. This kind of, you keep the kick and power, so if you've made the finishing lower, but you keep the kick and power high to kind of help with that. And then you go into the dribbling to make him more nimble. But if you're going to try go into the dribbling to make him more nimble, it's probably smart to actually keep the balance. So if we take off the kick and power instead, take that off and then do like that, and then we'll put it back in actually, you're going to get the plus boost to balance, and the kick and power is only going to be 88. So this one won't be as clinical, but he will be a bit better of a dribbler. I do think though, just because his passing's too low, I don't know if I would like this kind of more dribbling nimble build. Yeah, no, his passing isn't high enough for it, but he does have very high weak foot, which I really find makes the player just a lot better at passing, even if their stats are low. So if I had to choose a build, I would probably, I don't know, I would look at him as a specific use player and just use him as a pure finisher. So if I had to go, if I was going for the higher dribbling build, I would go for the kick and power instead, just make that as good as possible. But overall, I wouldn't be going for either of these builds. I would be going for a 95 finishing build. Now, if we compare this guy to his other big time booster card, I think the new one's a lot better. So if you're a fan of Lautaro Martinez, maybe this is worth the upgrade. One thing is though, this one has 70 aggression. Pator, one of my viewers, kind of pointed this out to me last night. The new one doesn't, and it's just the way Konami do all their cards, isn't it? Every time they release new cards, even if it is an upgrade, they always take one stat off. So they've chosen to take aggression off. Overall, it's probably the least important stat out of these, but I think aggression, I've said it multiple times, is very useful on strikers. So it is a shame that he doesn't have the aggression, but also this one does have the phenomenal finishing, so he's a lot better in that regard. If we take a look at Lautaro Martinez's skills, he has got a good selection. I think he does need acrobatic finishing though. I'm not 100% sure if phenomenal finishing just completely overrides acrobatic finishing. I've never used an a phenomenal finishing player myself. I might be getting Havertz on my RTG, but it's interesting they didn't give him acrobatic finishing because they didn't give Ben White, the Arsenal Showtime one, pinpoint crossing either. And I don't know if like it's a case of if you have phenomenal finishing, you just don't need acrobatic finishing. So if anyone has any experience with that, please let us know in the comments. If you think phenomenal finishing just completely overrides acrobatic finishing, I would probably just put it on them to be safe, but someone in the comments might let us know and kind of enlighten us on that. But you're definitely going to need a skill like cut behind and turn or Marseille turn, just because of those two skills are very good for just switching it onto the other foot very quickly. He's got very high weak foot, and he's a deadly finisher, so you just want the ability to be facing the kind of to the right, then do a cut behind and turn, or Marseille turn, hit it onto your left foot and whack it, and you'll probably be scoring some goals through that way. So definitely get one of those on. You could probably go for both of them, but I usually only recommend one. They've kind of served the same purpose in my opinion. Now luckily this guy does have true passing. You can give him one touch pass or heel trick. I don't really recommend one touch pass on centre forwards, but it's just a case of this guy, I don't see too many other skills you could or should put on him. You can also put aerial superiority on him. He does have okay jumping stats, nothing out of this world, but it will help. And he isn't the tallest. He's 174 centimeters, but I do think I don't know, he just feels taller than that in game. I don't know why. And you know what, if you had to ask me how tall Lautaro Martinez is, I would have said like 180 probably. So yeah, he definitely is taller than that in game. I don't know how I'm gonna explain that to you, but I think he is. And then okay, but this next skill suggestion is if you've watched my Franquinho double touch video and you're able to implement it in game. Because this guy has the very high weak foot, I would put soul control and flip flap on him. And that's basically how I'm scoring all my goals nowadays, with double touch shot. So this guy with the very high weak foot would be good with that. And then just because of his really high speed, acceleration, offensive awareness, super sub would be good in this guy. Super sub boosts your stats obviously off the bench, but back in PES, it used to show you what stats it boosts. And it used to boost offensive awareness and, well, definitely offensive awareness. I think it did boost acceleration more than the other stats too. And one thing I've noticed in this game is if you have a player with those stats high with super sub, when you play a pass to them, the defenders, it glitches through the defenders more often and you're in on goal. So he would be a very good super sub. So those are the skills I'd recommend on Lautaro. Would I recommend spinning for this guy? Probably not, unless you love him in real life or an Inter fan. Or yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend this guy. But we'll have a look at the other players in the pack, and it'll kind of help you inform if the pack is worth spinning. So we'll have a look at Theo Hernandez now. And these kind of cards, like Theo Hernandez, he has loads of cards in this game. Alphonso Davies, Frimpong on the other end, just them really fast fullbacks are usually not great. They're just fast, and I don't think pace is terribly important in eFootball. If it was FIFA, yeah. But in eFootball, it's not terribly important just because you know how defenders can catch attackers anyway, regardless of their speed. But I actually think this guy looks pretty decent. So if I pull up his build now, I think his card actually looks pretty good for one of them really fast defenders. You can see this build here. I've went high on the dribbling. Now, this guy is a offensive fullback on eFootball Hub. Is he an offensive fullback? Yeah, he's an attacking fullback in game as well. So I think sometimes he's a fullback finisher. I think the attacking fullback will suit him more. So I've given him high dribbling. So this one is if you want your fullback to overlap or you want to play him as left mid, and because this guy does have edged crossing, I think you want him to get forward as much as possible. It'd be a shame to play him left back and put defensive instruction on him. So yeah, definitely you want this guy to go forward. So the build I have kind of corresponds to that, although it doesn't have the highest lofted passing stats. So I will give a build with higher stats there. I don't think it's majorly important. Edged crossing in my eyes is very useful for when a player is making a late run into the box. Imagine you have a Frank Lampard making that late run into the box. Edge crossing is perfect for picking them out. So it's mostly used for players that are unmarked, because if a player is marked, it doesn't matter. The cross isn't going to help. You want to get it up, the cross up, and then back down again, in the space behind the defender. So you don't think you need the highest lofted pass stats. And my Ben White as kind of hitting a few decent crosses with not a terribly high lofted pass. Still high, but not terribly high compared to my Trent that also has edge crossing. So yeah, this is the dribbling build that I would go for with my playstyle. But if you want more passing, you're going to have to take off the dribbling. So you can see we did get it to 85 on the ball control and tight possession. So what I would do is go down to 85 just on the dribbling and then go into the passing like that. But you're not going to get any major boost off the passing, and you can probably put that last point into aerial or something. Yeah, you're not going to get any major points into that. I wouldn't really go for a higher defensive build just because you've already put 11 points in to get him to 80 defending. So I don't think it's worth it. If you don't want the dribbling or the passing though, you'd probably give him like 73 passing just to get him to a decent level. And then you can put the rest of the points into acceleration. And you can see that does get him to a decent level. I don't think you can really get him to 85. You're going to have to sacrifice too much. Maybe you could take off the passing to get him to... I know you can't even get him to 85. On the balance there, you're gonna have to sacrifice something important like the kicking power maybe. I mean, it's not the biggest deal, the kicking power, is it? You could do that and then go back into the passing or the dribbling, I guess. and make him that much faster. I don't think it's terribly important though. I think he's more of a guy who's his uses pace when he's at top speed. You're not worried about the short distances as much. But yeah, he's actually not a terrible card, and he has good player ID. He's 184 centimeters tall. He'll win some aerial balls. He's kind of got that bulky presence. But if we take a look at his skills, he has got some decent ones, but he needs more kind of relevant ones. So he has got interception and blocker. I would be going for acrobatic clearance on him, and I'd also be going for aerial superiority. I know he's not got the best jumping, but he is pretty tall, and it would be helpful. And it's not just the height, it's something about, I don't know, there's just some players I know in this game can win headers, and he is one of these guys. It might be the height and the weight, or Pez Pepe did a video actually on it was kind of to explain why Vieira is so OP. It's something to do, I don't understand it entirely, the player's height relative to their height of their legs, and if there's a ratio, it makes them players intercept more. And there's obviously going to be stuff like that for other things in the game, like winning headers. So yeah, that's the skills, or sorry, that's why I think he would be decent in the air with aerial superiority. So yeah, aerial superiority, acrobatic clearance. You should probably go for slide tackle on him just because he already has blocker. He'll get the slide tackle block animations too. Would you put a double touch on him? I don't. You know what? Actually, I wouldn't be opposed to it, especially if you went for that higher dribbling build. But in order to set up the edge cross, I don't think double touch is what you need as much. You need Marseille turn or cut behind and turn again to set up the double touch cross. I think I have cut behind and turn on my Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it's really helpful for setting up the edge cross. Another skill that would be good in them is one touch pass, just to help him with those 1-2s, because you know the standard way of getting the fullback free is do a 1-2 with the winger. The winger, you know, gets the ball, dribbles inside, and then he can dribble inside and shoot, or play it over to the overlap to his left. So yeah, those are some of the skills. Any other ones? Soul control wouldn't be terrible, just because you can do a knock on as if you're going to hit the cross in. Your opponent's going to run at you and try block it, and then you can just you know, dribble past them and get an even better angle and under less pressure for the cross. And then, you know, just to be safe, you could put a fighting spirit on him, because it just helps defenders better. And because this guy has 96 stamina and he'd be good as a left mid, you'd want him getting up and down the pitch a lot. Having fighting spirit on him to help when his stamina does get low would be good, because stamina in this game, pretty much every player goes low on stamina anyway. So like usually I don't recommend, if a player has low stamina, and by low I mean below 90, and like that's even being generous, I think it's 95 usually, that's still low stamina for me with the way I view it. I don't recommend worrying about it. You're just gonna have to assume they're gonna be dead by the end of the game. But with this guy, 96 stamina, you can kind of actually start thinking, oh, you know what, maybe I can get this guy the full 90 minutes out of him. Yeah, those are some of the skills I'd recommend. Sorry for not kind of recommending a set 5. I just want to give you ideas, because I don't know if you're playing on left back, left mid. You can even train him as a centre back. So I don't know, you know, which kind of build you want to go for specifically. So it just gives you options also, like maybe you don't like cut behind and turn or Marseille turn, you don't know how to use it, or you don't use knock on. So it's kind of, I can't, like, for some players I can't give the specific 5 that I recommend for everyone. But yeah, those are the skills and the build for Theo Hernandez. If we look at the next player, it's Dybala, who's a very interesting player in this game, but unfortunately Konami have not given him a Showtime skill, so I don't know why they've done it like that again. They always do it with one player, so that is a shame. But if we take a look at the build, this is the first one I recommend. It's a well-rounded build. I don't think this guy looks particularly standout on the stats. There is one thing about this guy that I'll get to in a moment that makes him good. Not particularly standout in the stats, although there is another build I'd recommend. So you can see before we take off all the boosts, we have a lot of the stats at 85, except for finishing. So if you want, instead of putting the finishing to 85, just put the low pass there, and then you can get the finishing up as well. And to be honest, that build is a lot better, I think. If you're not too worried about passing, you can also take more passing off. And let's see, we can try to get the the speed up to 85, but you'd have to take off maybe a dribbling. And then there's also another build for a offensive awareness one. So what we do there is get the finishing, or sorry, the speed back to 83, take the passing off for a sec, and get the dexterity up to 85. And then with that last point, you can't really put it anywhere, you have to put it there. So that build does look good as well. So I'd go either probably, I don't know, I'm starting to like putting passing on my players. It just helps me a lot, be more consistent. But I'd probably go for the second build I recommended, or this one, the offensive awareness. But yeah, as I was saying, as we look at the skills, the thing that makes this Dybala better than his stats or skills might suggest is he has his own finesse shot animations. So he kind of like Kubo, Yamal, who's another player who has them, Kulusevski. Some players in the game just have like a different finesse shot animation, and Dybala is one of them, and it makes them pretty effective. Now, it's not going to help you score like a blitz curler shot from really far out, but in the box, it will make him more clinical. So yeah, this guy's got good skills. He's just missing 2 major ones, and it's, well, actually 3 major ones, I guess. It's acrobatic finishing, and also soul control and flip flap. So I think get the level 3 double touch on him and acrobatic finishing. That's 3 skills right there, and I think you've got him in a very good position. Other than that, he probably just needs something like a long range shooting or cut behind and turn. I'm actually surprised I've recommended cut behind and turn on all these guys. I don't think cut behind and turn is going to be a major thing on Dybala. It's just that he's kind of got a lot of the skills already. I don't see anything he needs elsewhere too much. You could put a gamesmanship on him to help him with his dribbling. If he kind of gets dispossessed, he might win a foul. Another skill that might be good, particularly if you're playing him on the right there, right wing, or even right SS, is pinpoint crossing. I like it on my kind of Messi's out there. Basically, or my Salah, any player that's kind of one-footed, and you want to cut inside with him and shoot, I like putting pinpoint crossing on him, just so if you do have to kind of dribble outside, you've still got a lot of options. So he would be good there. I do think he is best as an SS, a right-sided SS. And he'd be good as a centre forward too, even actually an AMF. Yeah, so this guy is pretty good. It's just a real shame he didn't get given a Showtime skill. But yeah, I don't think there's anything too major about this card. Now, if we compare it to the old big time, I do think it's a bit of an upgrade. I don't think it's anything out of this world, but I don't think this card is anything out of this world anyway. If I had a blitz curler, I think it'd be very good. And I'm surprised they didn't give it to him. But I don't think it's worth the upgrade, or it's worth just getting them. So I don't think it's a great pack overall. Theo Hernandez would be good in game, but he has, is it Lucas Hernandez or Theo Hernandez that everyone likes as the GP card? Lautaro will be okay, but I don't think long term he's going to be a player people use very often. The rest of the players aren't great. Actually, this Xerxes though, I did have a look at him. I think he looks okay. I'll give you the build real quick for Xerxes. I know people, or not many people, will be interested in this, but I'm sure there's some of you that I will be. So if we look at Xerxes right now, here he is. You can see we've given him 85s on speed, acceleration, and finishing and physical contact. But the problem with him is he doesn't have great stats for a deep line forward, which is what he is. So this build is probably the best if you're looking purely at stats for a striker, but I don't think it suits his playstyle. So if you wanted to, you would have to take off, or if you wanted to make him more of a deep line forward, you'd have to take off like maybe a bit of the kicking power and then put it into dribbling and passing, but you're not going to get it to a level where it's good. So I wouldn't think this Xerxes is anything too noteworthy. Yeah, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.